Over the next few minutes, we're going to break down something that affects you, well, every single day, your data. We're going to explore the powerful rights you have over your personal information, whether you're in Europe, the US, or India. So let's get right into it. It's a pretty powerful idea, right? Your data has immense value. And because of that, protecting it has become this huge global priority. This isn't just about privacy anymore. It's really about power and control in our digital age. So, what are we actually talking about? Well, the core concept is data subject rights. The best way to think of them is like your own personal legal toolkit. These are specific, enforceable rights that give you control over your digital footprint. It's all about bringing in some transparency and putting you back in the driver's seat. Okay, to really understand these rights, we need to look at the laws that actually grant them. So we're going to go on a quick global tour to look at 3 landmark regulations from Europe, the United States, and India that are, quite literally, shaping the future of data privacy. Our first stop is the EU, which is home to the General Data Protection Regulation, or as you've probably heard it, GDPR. Ever since it came into effect back in 2018, GDPR has basically become the global gold standard, influencing privacy laws all over the world with its really comprehensive approach. I mean, the sheer breadth of rights you get under GDPR is incredible. You can access your data, you can correct it, and of course you have the famous right to be forgotten, which lets you ask for it to be deleted. You can even take your data with you to a new service. It's a truly, truly robust framework. All right, let's hop across the Atlantic. Our next stop is California with its Consumer Privacy Act, or CCPA. Now, this law takes a very consumer-focused approach, giving people some really powerful tools to manage how businesses handle their data. Okay, the big thing to notice here is the focus on transparency and control over the sale of your data. The right to know lets you see exactly what a company has on you, while the right to opt out gives you a big red button to say, hey, do not sell my information. And importantly, companies can't punish you for using these rights. Our final destination takes us to India and its groundbreaking Digital Personal Data Protection Act. This was enacted in 2023, and it's India's very first comprehensive privacy law, setting up a whole new set of rights for, get this, over 1 billion people. So the DPDP Act gives you those foundational rights, like access and correction, kind of like GDPR, but it also introduces some really unique ideas. The right to grievance redressal gives you a clear path to file a complaint if a company isn't listening. And check this out. The right to nominate actually lets you appoint someone to manage your data rights if you can't. Pretty interesting, right? Okay, so we've seen the 3 big frameworks on their own. Now let's put them side by side. This is where you can really start to see the key differences in how they approach protecting your data. One of the biggest differences comes down to this one word, consent. Under GDPR, a company needs your explicit opt-in. That's the checkbox you have to actually tick to agree. It's a yes means yes kind of deal. The CCPA, on the other hand, often works on an opt-out basis, where consent is assumed until you actively go in and say no. That is a critical difference in philosophy. All right, let's look at a quick snapshot. You can see the timeline here from GDPR in 2018 all the way to the DPDP Act in 2023. You can see the different jurisdictions and the specific authorities that are in charge of enforcement. And notice how India's DPDP Act kind of carves a middle path on consent. It requires both notice and consent, blending pieces from the other 2. Of course, rights are only as strong as their enforcement, right? So what's the financial reason for companies to play by the rules? Well, the penalties for messing up are significant, and they vary a lot. Under GDPR, the maximum penalty can be a staggering 20 million euros or 4% of a company's global annual revenue, whichever is higher. Yeah, that definitely got everyone's attention. Now, In California, the CCPA allows for fines up to $7,500. But here's the kicker. That's per intentional violation. So for a big data breach affecting thousands, well, you can do the math. Those numbers add up incredibly fast. And under India's DPDP Act, the max penalty can go all the way up to 250 crore rupees, which is roughly 30 million US dollars. So clearly, regulators around the world are not messing around. So, after all these laws, dates, and big numbers, what's the big takeaway here? Why does any of this actually matter to you in your daily life? Well, it all comes down to one word: empowerment. Here's the most important point. These regulations are not some abstract legal thing. They are practical tools for you to use. Whether it's asking a company what data they have on you, telling them to delete it, or opting out of its sale, you now have legally backed power to take action and manage your own digital identity. And that really brings us to the final thought. For the first time, it feels like the balance of power is actually shifting. You have more control, more transparency, and more rights over your personal information than at any other point in history. So the real question is, now that you have this power, how are you going to use it?